So I just watched Gainax's first theatrical film, Promare. This is a movie I've actually been looking forward to for quite a bit. I like Imaishi. I like, Gainax. I've liked what I've seen of Trigger. I have unfortunately haven't seen that much Trigger. Something I really need to fix. But this movie looked really interesting from like the clips that I had seen. Really had no clue what kind of movie I was getting myself into, other than, yeah, no, it's Trigger, I'm gonna watch it, whatever. So I didn't really like watch any of the trailers. Apparently it's just Fire Force, but way fucking better. And by Fire Force, but way fucking better, it's like, people spontaneously combust, and you have like these specialized firefighters that are dealing with them. And honestly, beyond that point, it's completely different from Fire Force, but just the bare bones premise is very similar. So yeah, this movie, I had no clue what I was getting myself into. And I was definitely very pleased with it. I like the movie a lot. I think it's really good. I wouldn't put it on the incredibly high pedestal I've seen other people online putting it on. Like, people like, already like, oh my god, this movie's so good. This movie's so fucking amazing. Oh my god, this is like fucking masterpiece. And I'm like, whoa, yeah, it's good. It's really, really good, actually. Like, it's an 8 out of 10. It's definitely not like a masterpiece in my mind. I wouldn't even put it on like the same level as, say, like, as far as like balls out crazy ass anime films go, like Redline. Like, Redline is a film that I think is stylistically interesting and balls to the wall crazy, but also just like a masterfully made film. Here with Promare, I'm like, it's visually striking and it's balls to the wall crazy, but it feels almost routine at this point because it is like Imaishi, and it is like the guys from Gainax and, Trigger. It's like I've seen a lot of stuff before, so like a lot of the like wow factor has kind of diminished. Also, the mere fact that this movie does really feel like it's like Imaishi and Trigger just pulling into their bag of tricks. Like, I'm sitting there looking at it and I'm going, oh yeah, I remember that from Gurren Lagann. Oh yeah, I've seen that stuff from Kill la Kill. And it doesn't feel like it's doing anything new, pushing any really new boundaries. Like, the theme of the film isn't like that interesting. Like, it's interesting, it's good, but like fairly early on you'd be like, oh, okay, I see what the movie's going for. And the movie never really throws you a curveball. You kind of see the trajectory that the film is going on. And like, I can't say I was particularly surprised. In fact, I think like the thing that was most surprising is just how much it apes from Gurren Lagann at the finale, where I'm like, oh, we're doing this thing from Gurren Lagann and this thing from Gurren Lagann. All right, we're just Gurren Laganning it up. But that doesn't stop me from like enjoying the film. Like I said, like, just because it's a little routine for them doesn't mean that I think it's bad in like any way, shape, or form. Like I said, 8 out of 10, very good film. In fact, the only goddamn complaint I really have about this movie is them fucking our showing that we went to go see. Like, me and my friends, we went to go watch it. We went to go see the Tuesday showing because it was showing on Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday is the English dub showing. Thursday was the Japanese subtitled showing, and they showed the Japanese subbed version during our what was supposed to be our dub showing. Like, we chose that because we wanted to see it dubbed. Like, me and my friends, we enjoy our anime dubbed. Yes, go fuck yourselves if you have a problem with it. But we wanted to see it dubbed. We were kind of looking forward to it because, Johnny Ambash is in it, Steve Bloom is in it, fucking Matthew Mercer's in it. Like, a lot of great people are in this dub. So I'm like, awesome, it's gonna be great. And nope, like it's about. It actually took me a second to realize this. Like, we're all sitting in the theater, and the the opening segment's happening, and I'm like 2 minutes into the segment before I go, wait a second, isn't this supposed to be dubbed? Because it didn't even click with me. I was just like, oh, I'm watching an anime. So when the subtitles popped up, I just started reading them normally, and then it clicked with me. I'm like, wait, no, I'm not supposed to be reading this. It's supposed to be dubbed. What the fuck? And I leaned over to my friend Bob. I'm like, apparently we're not getting the dubbed version. He's like, well, this is like news reports from all over the world. Maybe after this, then it'll be dubbed. Nope, Japanese the whole way through. And it's not like a huge detriment. It's just one of those things that like we didn't get the experience that we paid for. We came here, like we had made the plans. Like the theater was just like, oh well, we could try to like, hopefully give you like a different showing like on Thursday if you want to see it then. It's just like, which honestly wouldn't really help because that would just be the subtitle showing again, probably. Um Also, because that's the thing, like you show a bunch of dub anime fans the subtitled version of an anime, we're gonna go, well, shit. Not really what I signed up for. Man, if they fuck that up on, like, the subtitled showing, I can only imagine just people being rip-roaring fucking pissed. Like, I can only... Because those people are fucking, like, ridiculous. Like I said, like, a dub anime fan would just be like, eh. But, like, a subbed anime fan, if you give them, like, the dubbed version, like, I just imagine, like, half that theater getting up just to fucking complain and be like, you start this fucking movie over and you play it in Japanese, you motherfuckers. Except for Dragon Ball. Like, Dragon Ball's, like, the one exception where if you showed a bunch of dub fans the subtitled version, they would come out with the goddamn pitchforks and torches and demand reparations for, like, this horrible unjust bullshit that they've been subjected to. So yeah, like that happened, and then also another bummer on top of this viewing that we had was that if you watched, apparently, like one of the things that we were looking forward to is Shantae 5, Shantae in the Seven Sirens, and the Seven Sirens, the newest game in the Shantae series. Its intro is animated by Trigger, and if you watched Promare in theaters, you get to see the Shantae opening on the big screen. Really looking forward to that too. That was going to be like this really cool novelty thing where one of my like a game series I really fucking enjoy, and I get to see this Trigger animated opening on the big screen. That was going to be a really cool experience. Yeah, we didn't get that. I guess that's only with the dub showing, because we did not get that. Instead, what we got after the movie was this, like, 10-ish minute interview with Imaishi and a couple other people, like, talking about, like, working on the film, like, a little Q&A interview thing. And you think, like, maybe that would be really cool. No, it was actually mostly boring and kind of goofy. Like, at one point, they're like, so what was the what were you thinking, like, going into the themes of this movie? And fucking Imaishi responds with, well, with Gurren Lagann, the theme was drills, and with Kill La Kill, it was clothes. So here, with Promare, we decided to go with fire because fire looks really cool when it's animated, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like, that's not a theme. That's like an aesthetic. I mean, I guess you could kind of call that a theme, but that's not really what people mean when they say, what is the theme, the message of your movie, not, like, the visual, like, thing that keeps coming up, like, in repetition. God damn it. And then he was just like talking about the soundtrack. He's just like, oh yeah, no, like the soundtrack's a real fucking banger. It's like, fuck, dude. Like, just like, yeah, like the visuals were sick, but like, yeah, you added score to it, and it just made it even sicker. He didn't actually say that, like, verbatim, but it's, like, the exact tone. Like, it's basically how that came off, which was just this guy being like, yeah, man, it was fucking sick. And, like, he didn't have anything, like, really meaningful or interesting or insightful to say about the production of the film. So, yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, like, the animators are really fucking dope. Oh, yeah, like, fire and shit looks cool when it's animated. The music fucking jams, son. Dad, god damn it. So I have to admit, like, that is kind of funny. Like it's not what I signed up for, but I guess that was funny, and I get the meme about it, and me and my friends are still fucking joking about it and shit, and god damn it. But still, though, like I said, we didn't get to see the vocal performances that we were looking forward to. Because that's the thing, I don't know my seiyus. Like a lot of people seem to be under this idea that I am like, oh, like I watch all my anime in Japanese and I don't fucking like dubs. That's fucking bullshit. I don't like bad dubs. Like I don't like Dragon Ball Z's dub because Dragon Ball Z has a bad fucking dub. It's super inaccurate and it just a lot of those performances are fucking terrible. That's why I say, like, Kai's dub is fine. I'm fine with Kai's dub. If Dragon Ball Z had a dub like Kai right out of the gate, I probably wouldn't even bother watching Dragon Ball in Japanese. But it never had that. So that's why I'm always so anti-Dragon Ball dub. Like, like the Utena dub is another one where it's just a god-awful fucking dub and just completely ruins the damn show for me. But yeah, there are plenty, like, I usually will watch something dub. If there's a dub, I'd rather sit and, like, listen to something than have to have my attention split on the screen where I'm, like reading subtitles and missing visual information up top, especially if it's something that's, like, directed with, like, a lot of symbolism or visual cues, and I'm, like, sitting there trying to, like, read all this bullshit, and then, like, there's some subtle thing in the visuals that I'm missing. I don't think there was anything like that in this movie, honestly. This movie seemed very forward and, like, very straightforward in its presentation and what it was going for. It wasn't really trying to be deep and meaningful. It was just trying to be fucking rad, and it was. So as I was saying earlier, the film is, like, very visually striking. It's a Trigger production, so of course it's like visually it fucking rocks. It's really great looking. Even like the CGI, I actually didn't mind it. I thought it was fine. Like, you could always tell it was CGI, but I feel like it always matched the aesthetic of the 2D animation. So even though it's just like, oh, well, that's clearly a CG object interacting with these 2D characters, it always looked like it kind of still fit regardless. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact of just how clean and vibrant the aesthetics are. So when you have these bright poppy CGI vehicles and buildings and, like, landscapes and stuff, it works in the in the favor of, like, the visual style, because it's just, like, it's not jarring. Because usually, like, a lot of things, they don't really think about, like, oh, like, how the CGI is going to clash. That's why I complained about Broly. Because even though the CGI tries to look like the 2D animation in Broly, it just doesn't. Like, the animation is super bouncy and fluid. The CGI models in Broly were not that at all. Really, the characters themselves didn't even need to be CGI at all. The background visuals always clashed with, like, the hand-drawn background visuals. So whenever they were on a CG background, it was just a drastically different looking aesthetic for the backgrounds, which was always distracting. Like, the way Ki looked when it was CG animated was very different from how it was drawn in, like, 2D. So yeah, like the CGI was always kind of a distraction in that movie. Here, though, I feel like they really went to the efforts of making the CGI match the aesthetics. So it always looked good. Like I said, the visuals very bright, very colorful, very poppy. So after this, I'm gonna just get into goddamn spoilers. If you haven't seen Promare yet and you don't want to get spoiled, dip out now because I'm gonna talk about some spoilers. The best part of the movie is, like, the first 5 minutes. Like, when it introduces... Honestly, okay, I'm gonna say, like, the best parts of this movie are, like, the first, like, few minutes where you have, like, all these little triangle things, and then you have, like, people who are getting really frustrated in, like, different situations, and then all of a sudden, they just burst into flames. And then, like, they burst into flames in very crazy ways. Like, a guy's, like, stuck in traffic, and he just, like, his eyes flare up, and next thing you know, just fire out of his car, and it just, like, takes out all these vehicles on a bridge. Like, a woman who is, like beat by her husband, she's, like, lying on the ground, and then, like, she just fire, and then just it explodes out and, like, hits her husband, like, who's, like, right outside. Um, like some girls like getting like pissed off at a text message, probably got dumped or something, I guess, and then just bursting fire out of her eyes and mouth, and it's just like it's really cool, and it's very very because like there's no dialogue throughout any of this. It's all just visual storytelling. It's like all in black and white, or at very least it was desaturated colors. I don't remember if it was desaturated or if it was actually just black and white. But it wasn't the bright, vibrant, poppy uh, aesthetic that is the rest of the film. And it's just like that, and like splashes of purple for the energy that they're building up. Their kind of pyrokinetic energy before they're, and then when they explode, it's just bursts of purple flames. Really, really goddamn nice looking. Like the intro is probably my favorite part of the entire movie, and then you go into like news reports, and then I think it goes like logo, and then boom, 30 years later, pristine white like utopian like cityscape, and then oh fuck, there's a fire, and then our super badass anime firemen show up. And okay, like I actually forgot the name of the main character. Like I know it starts with a G, his last name starts with like a THY. I fucking forgot. So I'm just gonna call him Diet Kamina, because that's basically what he is. He is like just another Kamina. Except instead of like, you know, having his drill pierce the heavens, he's a fireman and wants to be like a super dope fireman guy. So the basic concept of this movie is you have the Burnish, which are the, you know, pyrokinetic combusting people that the firefighters are, you know, signed to deal with. They have like all this mech tech, and it's fucking dope. And pretty early into the film, like the moment they establish that the villains may not actually be like that evil, or maybe they have like their own motivations for being like, pretty much from the end of the first fight, they establish like, oh, like the Burnish don't kill people, or at least that's what Leo, the other protagonist character, because he's not the villain, he's a secondary protagonist. And the moment they establish that, you're like, okay, I get it. Like, this is some sort of like utopian, dystopian, like fascist state type of thing, where the Burnish are viewed as are like demonized, and this is like almost metaphor for just like for any form of bigotry, really, like any type of like where like the media tries to demonize a particular group of people for being different, and to whip people into a frenzy to be socially against them, to justify locking them up with the support of the people type of scenario. Okay, I get it. The movie even doubles down on that by having like this regular pizza guy, like the police bust in, and they're like, "You motherfucker, you're a Burnish," and they're like, "Oh shit," and like he tries to fight back a little bit, and they're like, "Oh no, he's a Burnish," and like, "Hey, like this guy wasn't doing anything, he's just making pizza, that's all he was doing, he's not a criminal." And then they they take away the pizza shop owner, because like anyone who's hiding a Burnish, like, you know, legally, we get to arrest you too, you know, that's the law. And a character even comments, it's like, well, yeah, that's a law, but that law is meant for people who are harboring terrorists. This guy isn't a terrorist, and you're overstepping your boundaries. So yeah, it's like, you know, like the theming here is not subtle. Like this is like some like some civil rights tier metaphor going on. So basically, once you have the idea of this premise, like, oh, okay, the government body is kind of evil and probably doing some really shady shit, then you have, and probably they're gonna end up being the villains, and our villains, the Burnish, are probably gonna end up teaming up with our heroes, the firefighters, and they're probably gonna, overcome the actual evil. And the moment you're introduced to Cray Foresight, you know this motherfucker's evil. You know it. It's just like, okay, this is pretty predictable. Our main protagonist, Diet Kamina, he's like inspired by this guy. Even like his backstory and like his reveal felt like okay. Like it's just like I didn't guess it in advance, but the moment that they like explain it, I'm like, yeah, no, that makes sense. Like I didn't like it wasn't like a oh my god, no, it was just like, yeah, no, of course, yeah, that guy's a Burnish and that's why he hates Burnish and he's like manipulating this whole system and he's like a big old hypocrite and yeah, no, of course. Like the one thing that I would say that I just didn't see coming at all is like how they end up tying everything together because you have Cray Foresight, who is the governor of this city, and he's just like, yeah, no, like, I'm doing horrible experiments to the Burnish, but we're using them to fuel an engine so we can open a portal to go to a different world because the Earth's molten core is like getting out of control, and in 6 months it is going to destroy the planet. Thing is, though, like the reason, like the Earth's core is like, weird interdimensional shit and like an alien race and their psychic powers and it's fucking up the thing and that's creating the Burnish and it all ties together. Like the Burnish power, the fucked up molten core thing, and like where their powers come from. All these things intertwine together. I forgot the exact specifics of how all of that works. But yeah, I was just like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, because I didn't actually expect the film to tie all of those things together. So that was kind of a pleasant surprise in the narrative. I was like, okay, like the movie's actually fairly well written. And like the one contrived thing I was gonna call the film out on, the movie calls itself out on. Like, very specifically, they end up finding like this underground lab purely by coincidence, and the guy's like, you motherfuckers, Leo and Diet Kamina, come in here. Here's like the reveal of this of your governor being evil, and this is what he is doing, and here's the entire plot of this film. Now get in this mecha and go kick his ass. And then right after all of that, another character brings up, hey, like, why did you choose these two guys? Like, what made them special? It's like, oh no, I just chose them because they fucking showed up. Well then, what would have happened had they not shown up? It's like, I guess the Earth would have been fucking destroyed. It's a good thing you guys showed up when you did. It's like, okay, like this is like the point where it's like you can't even like call this out because like the movie knows it's dumb and it's contrived bullshit and it's just not that kind of movie. It is not meant to be taken seriously. It is just meant to portray this theme, be a blast, be a lot of fun, and that's basically what it is. And, everything wraps up, they defeat the bad guy, everything's cool, they, like, the Burnish no longer have their powers. Like, honestly, like, if there's one thing I would actually complain about the film itself, not my experience, but the film itself, is at a couple different points, I kept thinking that Diet Kamina was going to be revealed as a Burnish. And I'm not the only one. Like, all of my friends were like, oh, he's not getting fucked up by the fire because he's also a Burnish and he's just now unlocking this. No, it's just, Leo had protected him with his fire somehow. Mm-hmm. I mean, they do kind of, like, explain, like the different types of fire. And that, like, one is kind of like this healing protective thing that they can do. So it doesn't, like, come completely out of, like, thin air. But it was, like, this thing of, like, huh? Oh, yeah, I guess that is a thing. Alright. I don't know if I would have preferred it being a Burnish or, like, that reveal. But I guess, I mean, in the movie's credit, they surprised me, I guess. And yeah, honestly, that really sums up, like, everything that I had to say about Promare. It's like it's not a particularly deep film. The theme isn't overly complicated. It's very straightforward. It's not really surprising in any ways. It really reaches into the Gynax bag of tricks. Like I said, it goes full tilt Gurren Lagann at the very end. And yeah, like it's good. Like I feel like if you're like just like a big fan of Trigger and Imaishi, you're gonna like you may really love like all like look at like all the kind of like the retreads as just fan service. Like, oh, they did that thing and they did that thing and they did that thing. Me personally, I think I would have preferred seeing something a little bit more original, something more different, something I haven't just seen multiple times from these people before. But yeah, like I said, I still really liked it. 8 out of 10. If you guys ever get a chance to see it, check it out. I doubt you will be disappointed.